Hello you guys, welcome back to my channel. I'm very excited for today's video because in honor of the Sephora VIB sale, I thought it would be fun to look back at every single thing that I purchased from Sephora last year and tell you guys whether or not it was a good purchase or not. I have a feeling I'm gonna be roasting myself for some of my purchases, but we're gonna go through every single product that I purchased from Sephora last year. So if you're interested in seeing what I bought from Sephora, stay tuned. First, if you have yet to subscribe to my channel and you like to chit chat about makeup, if you like palette themed content, just hanging out, that is what we do over on this channel, and I would love for you to consider subscribing before moving on. Also, don't forget to like this video and leave a comment down below, and anything else that the YouTube algorithm loves for you to do, I would really appreciate it. And without further ado, let's get into the video. Okay, wow, the freckles are freckling right now because of Florida weather. I was trying to like fill in my hairline with like root touch up stuff, and it splattered on my forehead, so it looks like I have like really big freckles. It's not freckles. Yeah. Okay, I'm gonna pull up the Sephora app, and what's really fun about the Sephora app is if you have like a Sephora VIB account, you can look back at everything that you purchased the year prior. So I'm just gonna go from my first purchase of the year to my last. Maybe we'll tally up how many purchases I had. I want to tally up how many products I've decluttered, how many I've used up, so we're gonna keep tally as we go along. The first purchase that I made at Sephora in 2024, which I will say I do feel like I've been better the last couple of years about some of my purchases. Maybe I'm just purchasing more indie, so I'm purchasing less from Sephora and Ulta. Anyway, I didn't make a purchase until January 22nd of 2024, and in this particular purchase, I purchased the Laneige lip sleeping mask in cotton candy. I remember being really excited about this. I was excited about the swirl texture. I even made like a Instagram reel with this. And I have since actually used this up. Between me and my daughter, we have used this up. So that is a tally for used. And then my next purchase came on February 24th. So over a month later, I feel like we kicked the year off right. But I did purchase the Huda Beauty Easy Bake Blurring Loose setting powder, and I purchased Cherry Blossom. I will likely declutter this during my next declutter. I just find this powder to be a little too heavy underneath my eyes. I much prefer the Makeup by Mario Surreal Skin. I feel like that does a nice job of still blurring underneath my eyes, but it's significantly lighter coverage than the Huda Beauty one. So for me, I'm honestly glad that I got to try this because it was more of like a viral beauty product. I have used it a decent amount, but I just definitely prefer other powders over this. I'm not disappointed that I bought this, but this is something I think ultimately I will declutter. I haven't yet though, so I'm not gonna count it as a declutter. Okay, and then on March 11th, I purchased the Huda Beauty Faux Filler Shiny Non-Sticky Lip Gloss in the shade Glassy, which is the clear shade. I remember being really excited for this because generally I like trying things from Huda Beauty as a brand. And if you guys know, you know, I love the Lawless Forget the Filler. So any lip gloss that claims to be like faux filler or is going to be like a lip plumping gloss, I do like to try. So I was really excited about this one. It definitely is just a clear gloss. It's definitely my favorite clear gloss that I have in my collection or have tried. And once I get my way through this, I will absolutely purchase this again to have as my clear gloss in my collection. That being said, I don't feel like this makes my lips look as plump and juicy as, say, the Lawless Forget the Filler or a Buxom gloss. So I don't really feel like this is like a lip plumping gloss. And I honestly don't even feel it's like the glossiest, like most juiciest gloss either. So I feel like the advertising around this is a little bit misleading, but in terms of just a clear gloss, I do really like this gloss. And then the next purchase I made was on March 27th. This is when Rare Beauty launched the like cheek colors, and I ended up purchasing the Soft Pinch Luminous Powder in the shade Cheer. I do still own this. I do still really enjoy using this. I will be pulling this out to get a little bit more use on this. Actually, I think it's going in my current Shop My Stash because I think I've reached for it twice. It's something that I personally prefer more as a blush top topper, so I like to lay down a matte blush color and then use this on top to add some luminosity to the cheeks. I do definitely like a glowier cheek, a glowier face, so a product like this does work really well for me. And I think the shade on this is really beautiful. It's kind of like a warm peachy pink sort of shade. I definitely have considered purchasing a couple other shades in this formula, but I haven't yet because I just have way too many blushes. I am very happy to have this in my collection though. Okay, the next purchase that I made was on March 28th, so the literal very next day, and I think it's because I had I had just redeemed for the $100 gift card, and in this purchase I got the Gucci Sunkissed Glow Bronzer as well as the Patrick Ta Major Headlines Double Take color, the color is She's the Moment. I love my Gucci bronzer, and I had already purchased shade 3, which is definitely way too deep for me unless I am like at my most tan shade. So shade 1 works a lot better for me the majority of the year. I think it's a beautiful bronzer. It is very expensive, however it is very finely milled and very beautiful on the skin, so I'm not mad about the Gucci bronzer. Patrick Ta, I just am not feeling, I'm feeling a type of way about Patrick Ta's brand as a whole. I do love his blush trios, not trios, blush duos though. The shade She's the Moment is very orangey, very coral, which is something I was really excited for around this time last year, because prior to that I was loving like the sunburnt blush effect. Last year I definitely preferred something a little bit more neutral leaning, and if I was going for something like kind of like this, I definitely preferred something maybe like a lighter coral sort of shade. That's not to say I don't enjoy having this in my collection, and actually when I was recently in Florida I was loving like a red toned bronzer to kind of give that really sunburnt, like kissed by the sun sort of effect. So maybe I'll lean back into like the sunburnt blush this year. We'll see what happens, but I do still have both of those products in my collection. Next up was my Sephora VIB sale purchase, and I ended up making I think 3 separate purchases during this, actually 4 separate purchases during the Sephora VIB sale. So my first one was made on April 4th, and in this I picked up the Charlotte Tilbury Beautiful Skin Magic Radiant Concealer. I love this. I had gone through a mini size. I knew I wanted to have this back in my collection. I recently brought this with me to Florida. It is one of my favorite concealers. I'm very glad to have that. I also picked up one of the Lawless Forget the Fillers in the shade Nudie. Is it Nudie that? No, I do like Nudie. Annie is the one that I think is like very nude in my opinion, but I love Lawless Forget the Filler. I don't need to go on and on and on. We all know it's one of my favorite lip gloss formulas. I also really like the Buxom. My one complaint with the Lawless is that I feel like you don't get a lot of product and you go through them really quickly, but I do think the formula is really beautiful. It is a little bit thicker, but because of that thickness, I really feel like it evens out my lips and just kind of fills in my lip lines and just gives me that really plump effect without being like a painful lip plumper. So I love the Lawless formula. And I wanted to pick up one of the new shades at that time. The Tower 28 Lip Softy. I have decluttered this to my daughter. I think this is, she wanted it because she loves Tower 28, because Tower 28, can't remember if Tower 28 is an aesthetic brand or a preppy brand, because there is a difference apparently. I believe it's an aesthetic brand. She wanted this. I think this is one of, like, I don't understand how this was released. This stays on your lips for like 3 minutes. It's drying, it's gloopy, I don't like the applicator. This was a waste of money. I think that's the first official decluttered product. The Rare Beauty mascara, I purchased the mini. I love this. I will eventually purchase the Rare Beauty mascara again. It's one of my favorite mascaras that I've tried. It ranks up there with the Ilia mascara. I love what it does for volume. It does not transfer. It is an excellent formula, and I absolutely would purchase that again. The One Size by Patrick Star Secure the Glow Tacky Primer. I'm almost finished with this. I think I'll finish this in the next couple of months. I think this is expensive for what it is. I think that the e.l.f. primers that grip are better than this. Like, they're gonna grip for longer. I do find this to be hydrating, but in my opinion it's just way too much for, like, it doesn't do enough for what you're paying for it, so I wouldn't purchase that again. I also have the House Labs Triclone Skin Tech foundation. Everybody raves about this. I go really hot and cold with this. Sometimes I think this looks beautiful on my skin. Sometimes I feel like this doesn't last as long as I want on my skin. Sometimes if my skin is really dry, I don't feel like it's the most flattering. So I don't think this is something that I'll repurchase when I finish, but I will absolutely use it up. I also have the Kayali Yum Pistachio, the little mini. I actually recently pulled this back out onto my fragrance tray. I do really enjoy this. It's definitely a lot different than a lot of the other scents that I have in my collection, but I'm excited to pull this out for the spring and continue to get use out of that. We'll see if I finish it up this year. And then the Danessa Myricks Yummy Skin Soothing Serum did not work for me. I actually ended up returning this because I just thought this looked terrible on my skin. So that one was a big bust. Then my second purchase was on April 5th. I did that scary, dangerous thing that you do during the VIB sale where you watch other people's recommendation videos. And I stumbled across, I think it was Lauren May Beauty talking about the Salt and Stone body mists. And so I picked up the Bergamot and Hinoki body mist. This is fine. It is definitely not a very long lasting body mist, and I actually really use this as like a nighttime pillow spray. Like I literally just spray my bed before I get in, and it smells like a spa. Like I really do like the scent of it. It just does not last very long. So for $45, I personally wouldn't recommend this, and I would not buy it again. I am looking at it right now. I have maybe like a third of it left. So I think I will finish this in the next couple of months as well. I've enjoyed using it, but it's definitely way overpriced for like the longevity that you get in terms of the scent. And then the last, nope, I have two more. On April 11th, I purchased the Net Cocoa Floor Travel Spray. I was traveling to Vegas at the end of April last year, and this is the scent that I picked to travel with. I really enjoyed this. I thought it was kind of like, oh my gosh, like an elevated version of like a coconut scented fragrance. I really enjoyed this. I still have a little bit of this left. I almost pulled this out to put on my fragrance tray again, but then it's like, I probably will buy this again because I do like to keep like the scents tied to travel memories for me. But there was a part of me that's like, I really don't want to use this up. I really enjoyed this though, and this is something I would purchase again in the travel size. It's not something I personally think I would need a full bottle of. There's definitely other spring and summer scents that I prefer to use more frequently than this, but I did enjoy it, and I would buy it again in the travel size. And then the final Sephora VIB purchase that I made was on April 13th, and I went back to purchase one of the Kissing lip jellies from Too Faced. I had purchased bubblegum at Ulta actually, and I liked it so much that I wanted sour watermelon. I have since gone on to finish sour watermelon. I believe that was actually this year that I finished it. I like sour watermelon. I prefer the bubblegum one. The bubblegum one is like a pink sparkly shade, whereas sour watermelon was more just like a sheer shade. I will be purchasing bubblegum again when I finish that one, but sour watermelon, I'm good without repurchasing it in my collection. And then finally, I have the Supergoop Protectant Daily SPF 50. I recently brought this with me traveling. I really enjoyed this last year, and I brought it with me again to Florida this year and just reminded myself how much I actually really like this. For a tinted moisturizer, tinted SPF, the longevity for that, like this lasts so long. It has such good wear time. It's such a great product. It has SPF 50. I highly recommend this. If I ran out of mine, I definitely would purchase again. Moving on to May 2nd is when I made my next purchase, and I bought 3 products during this purchase. I regretted not picking up the Kosas Cloud Set Powder during the Sephora VIB sale, so I picked that up again because I was missing having that in my collection. I am currently working my way through that. I almost decided to buy another one during this Sephora VIB sale, and I was like, no. I feel like I do still have a lot of my other one left. Like I feel like I could continue to use that up until about the next Sephora VIB sale, and then I will buy again. But I didn't want to have a backup that's just like sitting there and lingering, not getting used. So I tried to be a bit of a conscious consumer in that moment and not buy that again. But that is my favorite pressed powder of all time. I also purchased the Give by Gwen Stefani Feeling Cheeky Clean Amplifying Blush Duo in the shade Stars Align. This is like a peachy beige, which was really right up my alley. I did get quite a bit of use out of this last spring, summer. It's been a little bit since I pulled this out, but I was just thinking to myself, I need to pull this out and get more use out of it again, because it is a beautiful, very neutral, kind of warm leaning blush, and that has really kind of been my go-to preference lately. There's a matte and a kind of shimmery blush in the duo, so I really enjoy that. I don't know what's going on with Give Beauty. I don't know if the brand is like going away altogether or what's happening, but I don't believe you can get this anymore. And then I purchased a second shade for the summer, something that would match me more when I'm self-tan, in the Supergoop Protect tint, which again, I do really enjoy. Okay, then we made it to May 22nd before we made another purchase, and I just bought one thing during that purchase. I bought the Kosas Blushes Life in the shade Dreamland. I love the Kosas blush formula. There are some shades that are definitely more muted in tone, while others are a little bit more pigmented. Dreamland is one of those shades that is definitely a little bit more muted, but it does add this really beautiful satin glow to the cheeks, and I don't think I could wear just a matte blush. At this current moment, I was thinking about this yesterday while I was driving. These are the things that go through my head while I'm driving. I was like, I really don't think I could wear just a matte blush these days. In the past, yes. I definitely still preferred like a satin matte or something a little bit glowier, but this day and age, I need like a little bit of glow no matter what. Like I could put on a matte blush color and then I need something a little bit glowier on top, like a blush topper, but just a matte blush on its own, I don't think so. Nope. Oh my gosh, you guys, I went from May 22nd till August 9th before making another purchase at Sephora. Like for me, that is actually so good. Like I went all of June and all of July without buying anything from Sephora. That actually shocks me. In this purchase, I purchased 2 Travel Brown Girl Jane fragrances. I purchased Carnival and I purchased Lamu. I was trying to decide between these two for my Chicago scent. My daughter and I did a girls weekend in Chicago, and I ended up going with Carnival. I like both of these. I again don't feel like the longevity is there in terms of like it just doesn't last that long. I would buy Carnival again, simply for the scent memories. The Lamu I like, but I wouldn't buy it again simply because I don't feel like it lasts long enough on my skin to make it worth it. Okay, then I went over a month again before another purchase. I'm honestly shocked. I need to go back. I've done several years. I'll have a playlist linked down below of like recapping like years of Sephora. I was doing that and then I stopped, and then there's still a couple years that I need to do, but I feel like last year is by far my least purchased year from Sephora purchases. But anyway, on September 24th, I purchased the Summer Fridays Lip Butter Balm in Hot Cocoa, and I was really excited about this because my daughter loved the Glossier Swiss Miss Balm.com. Glossier needs to come back with their original Balm.com formula. So we bought this. I will say Glossier definitely has our heart a little bit more, but I'm almost finished with this one. I feel like I should finish this in the next couple of months, which will be really exciting to move a lip product empty out of my collection. I enjoy this one. I personally, like, the Summer Fridays, if there's a shade I'm interested in or a scent I'm interested in, I would purchase, but it's not my favorite lip treatment. Like, I definitely prefer the Ulla Henriksen. I actually really like the Gisou lip oils. I'm trying to think of what other, is there another like lip treatment? The Lano lips, that one's definitely like thicker, but honestly like that's typically what I'm looking for in more ways than one, if you know what I mean. Anyway, still have that. Okay, we must be at the next Sephora VIB sale. So on Halloween, on October 31st, I made a purchase, and this must have been like my big Sephora VIB purchase. As I always do, I make multiple VIB purchases, but I purchased the Danessa Myricks Groundwork Blooming Romance. I bought this because I love my Groundwork so much, and I had been thinking about this palette since the previous Sephora VIB sale. I will say this is not my most used palette by any means. It sits right behind me always up here with my other Danessa Myricks. I'm happy to have it, but it doesn't get used a lot. Then I purchased the Huda Beauty Icy Nude Eyeshadow Palette. This palette is fine. Definitely like not my favorite palette in my collection. Definitely not the most inspired color story in my opinion. But I do buy all of the large Huda palettes, so I'm glad I bought that. I've definitely created a couple looks with that I really enjoyed, but not the most inspired color story. I did buy the Clarins lip oil, the black one that has like the checkered on it. I am like, give me anything checkered and you have my heart. But I will say, I think I'm moving on from the Clarins lip oils just because I like the Gisou ones a little bit more, and the Gisou ones are $2 cheaper. I've been like a Clarins stan for a very long time, so this, you know, unless they come out with more checkered print stuff, then it would be hard for me to say no. But I do like the clearance lip oil formula. I'm not like trying to say I don't enjoy it. I wouldn't recommend it. I do like it. I would recommend if you're interested. I just personally like the Sue ones now more. And I don't even know if I'm saying that right. So if I'm saying Sue wrong, please don't make fun of me. Next, I purchased the Benefit Cosmetics Plush Tint Moisturizing Matte Lip. Thank you, Angie, for making this recommendation. This is something that I feel like started to get me into more color on my lips. This is such a comfortable formula, and the more that you put on, like the more it does kind of stain your lips. I really like the shade French Toast. It's like this really beautiful mauve brown, and I really am kind of having fun with, you know, doing more of like a matte lip color, and then usually I'll put like a gloss or something on top, but actually having color to my lips has been kind of fun, and I feel like this is the product that kind of jump started it all. Then I purchased the Makeup by Mario Surreal Skin Powder. As I said, I really enjoy this powder. I am working my way through it. I purchased the shade Fair Pink. This is something I will repurchase again when I finish. I would say if Guerlain, is it Guerlain? The one that like they used to, is it the Guerlain powder that they reformulated, or is it a different brand? Givenchy. Givenchy? You guys, what is it? Whatever brand that the Prism Libre. Givenchy. I feel like it's the Guerlain. Anyway, if they were to come back with like the good formula in that would be my favorite pressed powder, but because they've reformulated and that's basically a highlight now, the Makeup by Mario is my first favorite loose setting powder. The Nakia Joy would be my second. I did buy 2 more Lawless lip glosses. I got the shade Dazette as well as Candy Sky. These are more kind of like metallic. I don't reach for these ones that much. That's not to say I don't like them. Again, I like the formula, and you should just pick a color that works for you. I just like to collect all the colors. So I bought those 2. And then I did buy the Laneige Lip Sleeping Mask in Eggnog Latte. My daughter and I were working our way through this. I feel like this is like rolling around in my car somewhere. Like I can't exactly figure out where this is, but it's somewhere, and her and I are working our way through it. The Laneige lip sleeping masks we usually kind of share. Yeah, and I bought that more for her, but also knew that I would use it some. And then finally I purchased the Patrick Ta Major Dimension Eye Illusion. I purchased Talk to My Team. This was like a big disappointment. Like this is when like you're like excited for someone at the bar, and then you get home with them and like, you know, things are happening and you're like, wow, the expectation should have been set before I even left the bar with you, because now I have to like pretend like I'm falling asleep until you then fall asleep, because I'm just like no longer interested. Like I really just could have done without this eyeshadow. $42, and I just do not care for Patrick Ta as a person personally. I don't know, I just really disagree with some things I don't know. He's just one of the people that I'm just like, I don't want to support your brand anymore, but then I feel like you're gonna release like a blush duo that I won't be able to deny. Who knows? But anyway, I really regret purchasing that, and I will be decluttering that when I do my next declutter. Okay, then a day later I went in and I bought, oh yeah, I bought this for my daughter. I purchased online. I purchased online for my daughter, but like also for me. We both wanted to try the Milk Jelly tint, so I purchased the shade Fresh. She's collecting them all at this point. I do like them for a lip stain. On the cheeks, I don't think they work very well. Dang, I'm like, did I really not get this one product until November? Because I feel like I've had it for literally ever. Anyway, I then went in store, which is also a very dangerous thing, and I purchased the ABH Beauty Balm Serum Boosted Stick Foundation. Whatever. This is very sheer, not exactly what I was kind of looking for, but I do still have this. We'll see what happens with this. Like, it's just very sheer. It's very sheer. I did buy the YSL Candy Glaze Lip Gloss Duo. I am very happy to have this. I've been enjoying using them. It was a really good value in my opinion, and I've been wanting to try the Candy Glazes for a long time. I personally would not go purchase a Candy Glaze at full price. If they were to come out with another set next holiday around the same price, I maybe would, but I think they charge either $39 or maybe like $42 for one, and I'm like, that is just actually outrageous. Like, it's really nothing super special. I definitely have a lot of other lip products I would reach for even over this, but I'm happy to like have them, and I'm happy to be using them, but I probably didn't need to buy them. Then I have the Huda Beauty Easy Blur Natural Airbrush. I purchased the shade Shortbread. this is fine. It's not something I'm gonna purchase again when I finish it. I know like the internet seemed to have lost their mind over this product. It's fine. I feel like it lasts a pretty good amount of time. Like this is something I can get away with wearing to work. Sometimes like if I've used too much tretinoin, it can cling to dry patches and not look the most flattering, but overall it's a fine product. Nothing super exciting. I did also purchase the Fenty Beauty holiday release, the Fussy Flex Shimmering Swirly Situation. I love this. I feel like the shades like swirled together. Like I feel like it's such a beautiful kind of mid-toned to deep cranberry pinky sort of shade, which is something I've just really been enjoying lately. It kind of reminds me of the shade Riri, which she released around the Super Bowl when she performed in the Super Bowl, and I also love that shade. So I'm really pleased with this. I am still working my way through this one. I did randomly pick up the Givenchy Prism Libre concealer, and I've gone back and forth with this one, but I actually think I really enjoyed this. It is a little bit more like hydrating. I don't want to say glossy underneath the eyes, but it's definitely not matte, and I think it's very flattering on days that I want something a little bit more light coverage, but I still want concealer underneath my eyes. I'm actually really glad that I picked this up. I don't know yet if I can commit to saying I would repurchase when I finish this, because it is somewhat comparable to like the NYX Born to Glow, and the NYX Born to Glow is so much less expensive and honestly maybe even a little bit more full coverage, but I do really enjoy having the Givenchy. And then finally, this is the thing I was saying, I can't believe I didn't get this till last November. Like I feel like I've had this forever. It's the Makeup by Mario Soft Sculpt Multi-Use Bronzing. I have the shade Fair. I can't remember if I picked up or if I talked myself out of. I honestly cannot remember what I ordered for the Sephora VIP sale. My package has not yet arrived to me, but I was thinking about getting the next shade up in this as well. I don't love this as like an actual bronzer, like on my cheeks like this to sculpt. I like this all over my face, similar to like the Drunk Elephant Debronzy Drops. I think it is so beautiful. It has such a beautiful like soft lit glow. Oh my gosh. It just makes it look like you like perfected. You've like been perfecting your skincare routine. And so I wanted to use this just to match like my self-tan body to my face. Freaking love it. It literally makes it look like you actually are like doing your skincare routine. I definitely will repurchase. Again, I can't remember if I purchased, I feel like I talked myself out of purchasing the next shade up because I was like, girl, you've got your Drunk Elephant to get through, you've got your Say Dewy Gel, like we got to get through some of these so that we're not like sitting on like 3 of the same style of product. But this is something I absolutely will purchase again in the future. Okay, I feel like I can tell towards the end of the year I really started to like lose it, and I feel like I remember this. Like I feel like I had done really well with my beauty purchases, and then like we got to like October, November, and like you'll see. So on November 2nd, literally the next day, I ordered again from Sephora. I purchased another facial razor set, which I feel like I can justify. I had had the same facial razor set for a year. I really enjoyed the Sephora collection one, and I like wanted to re-up, so I got it, you know, while I could get it 30% off during the sale. And then I went back in store on that same day and I purchased the Dior Forever Glow Maximizer in pink because I had thought about buying it the previous day, talked myself out of it, and then I couldn't stop thinking about it. And I will say I'm glad that I went back for this. I actually really enjoy this product. I think it's very easy to use, very user-friendly for someone who maybe wants to use cream or liquid highlight but doesn't feel like they're like skilled at it. This is very easy to use and it's very beautiful. And then literally the next day I was again doing that dangerous thing where you watch recommendations, and I saw Julia Adams talk about the YSL Libre Flower and Flames fragrance, and I did buy this in the travel size to like, you know, see what it smelled like. I did go on to buy a full size of this because I loved it so much. Okay, and then the 7th of November, I feel like I'm still in the sale time. Then I bought a bunch of Lawless Forget the Fillers because I had it in my head that I was going to do a full Instagram reel swatch of all the shades of the Lawless Forget the Filler. Never did that. Are we even surprised? And now Lawless has released so many more shades. I'm like, I literally can't keep up. But I bought Glazed, George, and Juicy Watermelon. Juicy Watermelon I had like already used a full size of, and that is actually one of the shades I brought with me to Florida. I love that for a really beautiful kind of sheer pink shade. I think it's stunning. George I really like for like a brownie shade. That is one of the shades that I feel like I get quite a bit of use out of as well. Glazed is a little bit like pale glazy, pale metallic for me. Not gonna be a most used for me, but I did buy that. And then I did also purchase the Armani Beauty Luminous Silk concealer. This is something I had been thinking about wanting, and then I didn't get it, and then I swatched this and the Givenchy, and I ended up buying the Givenchy, but then I was like, I feel like I'm gonna regret not getting the Giorgio Armani, so I bought the Giorgio Armani. And honestly, I don't really care for the Giorgio Armani concealer. It's just not a favorite of mine. I still have it. It's not the worst. I just don't really love the applicator, and I feel like it's like more sheer than I was expecting it to be, so it's just not a favorite. Okay, then literally the next day, we really went south during the November sale. I purchased the Huda Beauty Faux Filler gloss in She Glitzy. I had saw Makeup Molly swatch this, and I was like, okay, that's like the most beautiful iridescent milky pink shade, and so I had to have it, and I don't regret that. I actually really like this. I think it's a pretty shade. Did I need it? No. Again, it's not my favorite gloss formula, but I do think the shade is really pretty, so I don't regret that. Okay, then at least we made it another week before we made another purchase. And I did have a Sephora I had redeemed for like $100. So I got the Huda Beauty blush in Strawberry Cream. I've used this a couple of times. I definitely didn't need to get this. It is what it is. I kind of wanted to try it because I feel like so many people were raving about this formula, and I felt like the shade, I had swatched a couple shades in store. I felt like the shade was a little bit different than other blush shades that I have. I just don't reach for like a liquid blush that much. I also purchased the Fenty Beauty Butter Drop Toasted Marshmallow. This was like the holiday scent for this year. I'm glad that I purchased this. I will say I prefer the one from the year prior, but I do really like the Fenty Beauty Butter Drop. I feel like it's extra hydrating. Like, it's very nourishing. It feels very hydrating on the skin. I am still working my way through this one, but it kind of gives like crisp fall, but like sweet marshmallow at the same time. I don't know, I really like it. I don't regret buying that. From topicals, I picked up the Like Butter moisturizer. Like Butter, yeah. For some reason I thought this said like or Life Buzzer, but it's actually Like Butter. Anyway, I use this on my eyes. I complain about my under eyes all the time. I think I have eczema patches there. I'm not super consistent with this, and then sometimes I'll use it all over my face too if I'm feeling really dry. I don't know, like I feel like I'm just not a skin, like I do not have an expertise at all in skincare to really say anything. I will say when I'm consistent about using it underneath my eyes, I feel like my under eyes do bother me less. So this is definitely something I would consider purchasing potentially again. All over the face for a moisturizer though, you're only getting 1.7 ounces, and I feel like it would go, like you would use this really quickly. So I really just kind of like using it more like targeted on where I think I have like eczema patches. Yeah. And then I also purchased the Freck Beauty Make Out Club, oh my gosh, lip liner in the shade 1, which is a warm nude beige. I really like this. I really like this formula. I know a lot of people have said that the formula can break really easily. I haven't had that issue, but just putting it out there. I love a warm nude beige shade, and I think this is beautiful. Again, I feel like the formula is a little bit stiffer, so it's definitely like more long lasting than like the Lawless lip liners, which I definitely prefer. So I'm happy that I have that. Okay, this next purchase, I'm not gonna tally in the purchases because this is definitely my daughter purchasing, but I'll tell you what she got. She got another Milk Makeup Cooling Water Jelly Tint, the Summer Fridays Lip Butter Balm, and a Touchland in Mango Passion. She's literally obsessed with Touchland. She like has to collect all the scents. I don't know why I did air quotes for that. Dear Lord, Steph, oh my gosh. Things just really took a turn in November, and I was just clearly frivolously spending. December 9th. Some of this is for me, some of this is a gift. The Ariana Grande Cloud Perfume Set was definitely for Zoe. The Glow Recipe Cloudberry Bright Essence was for Zoe. She wanted that. But I definitely try to use that too, and I do really like that product. The Valentino Eye to Cheek eyeshadow is actually eyeshadow. Anyway, I use it as a blush. I thought this was eye to cheek. Oh, I actually have this on today. Although with the lighting, I don't know that you can really tell. Anyway, Hope Miss Tom talks about this shade. Clove from Clove Room talks about this shade. I felt left out and I needed to know what all the hype was about, and I really love this. It's a very, I'm gonna swatch it so maybe you can see a little bit better because it's literally sitting right by me. It's a very unique shade to my collection. It definitely has like a satin sheen, not even like a satin. It definitely has a glow to it. And it is like this lavender-esque sort of shade, almost like a lilac lavender. I don't have anything like it in my collection. It's very unique to my collection. I will say, I think the packaging is, it's not the heaviest. Like, it could be a little bit heavier, and it's slightly bulky. Like, I feel like we could have we could have done like the same packaging, but like, although maybe the pan on this is really deep. I honestly don't know. I mean, it looks very fancy. But anyway, I'm very glad to have that. I love that. Again, very unique to my collection. I think it's stunning on the cheeks. So glad that I bought that. I did buy the Patrick Ta Major Headlines Double Take blush duo in Not Too Much. This is something I had wanted to purchase the last Sephora sale, but I bought the coral one. But then I definitely was more into like a neutral blush last year, so I was like, oh, I definitely need it. I've used it a couple times. I do think this is really pretty, especially for those who like something a little bit more nude, like rosy nude. It goes with just about any look, anything. So it definitely is functional to have in my collection. I just really don't care for Patrick Ta right now. The Glow Recipe Mini Watermelon was a gift for my daughter. And then the House Labs PhD Hybrid Lip Glaze Plumping in the shade Fig. I love this. I love this shade. I think it is stunning. I love to pair this with MAC Over the Taupe, the Powder Kiss. I just love the way my lips look. It's like a deep Your Lips But Better sort of situation. I absolutely would purchase this again. I will say I don't think the formula is like outstanding. If it wasn't for the shade, I wouldn't necessarily buy this again, but I love the shade Fig. If you can hear my freaking windows freaking out because it's windy out and I get so annoyed. Anyway, I'm so glad to have that in my collection. Okay, I did make a purchase on December 20th, but this was, again, gifts for my daughter, so I'm not gonna count this as a purchase for myself. Bought her the Gisou Honey Infused Hydrating Lip Oil and Watermelon Sugar. I love this. Her and I share this, or I basically just take this from her. And then I bought the Sol de Janeiro Body Mist in number 59 and 87. 87 came with us to Florida. I love this. It's a very tropical sort of scent. And 59 is also really nice. On the 22nd of December, also bought, I think I bought this. I'm like, I don't think this was her buying this for herself. But we bought Sol de Janeiro 68 and then another Touchland. And actually that's it. That is it for... Dang, okay, I thought that I would have more declutters. Only 2 products decluttered. I didn't necessarily count out how many total products I purchased, but out of everything, I've only decluttered 2. I've used up 2 products that I purchased last year, and I made a total of 22 purchases, which honestly, that's averages out to less than 2 purchases a month, which again, I think this was my best year in terms of purchasing the least, at least from Sephora and possibly Ulta, but those are all the products that I purchased in Sephora in the year of 2024. I would love to know, did you have a good Sephora spend year? As in, did you not spend that much? Or did you buy a lot from Sephora last year? And if you're picking anything up during the Sephora VIB sale, let me know what you plan to pick up. Thank you guys so much for sticking around to watch today's video and for supporting me and my channel as you guys always do. I love you guys so much, and I will catch you in my next video. Bye.